Well, the box has finally arrived of the Waterlily Combo. What with COVID and retooling, etc. It's taken a long time, but it's here at last, and we'll see what's in the big box. Here we have the Waterlily itself. We have the Waterlily accessory pack, well packaged again, and loose items. This SAE to cigarette lighter adapter. The little hand cranking gadget. The mount to allow you to put the Windlily on a tripod or something like that. Now, the one thing there now straight away, there are 3 set screws and washers. It'd be okay if this was just a one-time mounting on, but this is going to be taken on and off depending on whether you're using the Waterlily or the Windlily, and I would have hoped that there would have been at least 5, because a pound to a penny you're going to lose one of these in the high grass or in the rocks. I don't know what they are. Unlikely to be metric, so they're probably UNF, and they might be a bit problem for me to source in Europe. Now this is an extra that I got for myself, because at some stage I might tow the Waterlily behind the boat, and this is one of these blow-up balls so that you can set the depth, so we'll see how that works out. Right, the first thing we'll look at is the Waterlily itself. Okay, we have thank you for your purchase, important safety, electronic copy of the user's guide along with further information on setting up your turbine can be found at www. Okay, well, we got a little lanyard kit in that. Okay, very good. There we are. Yeah, it's small, but I didn't expect. Oh, it's a bit heavier than I thought. Oh. Well, I'm not too worried about the weight, but the fact it's heavy is good. It means it probably has some generating ability. That's a change now. They've changed from wire to cord. That's new. So this is the SAE connector, a fuse, and the electronic gizmos. What's it say there? Waterlily output 14.4 volts DC, 2.1 amps max. I don't know what the weight is. That will be on the website specs, but yeah, I didn't expect it to be. I didn't expect it to be very big, I don't know, 6 or 7 inches. But I'm surprised at the weight, which is, for me, is a good thing. But for others, I wouldn't be slapping it in a backpack. But now I'm interested to see. Oh yeah, oh good. Yes, I was worried that these mounting set screws would be going into plastic, but they're not. They're going into these reset brass sockets, so that's good. Yeah, happy with that. That means you'll have repeatability of taking them on and off. Very good. Next we'll have a look at the Windlily accessory kit. And we have assembly. Read all user manuals before use. Do not operate in winds exceeding. Yeah, this is, I've asked him a question about this, but I got no reply. Do not operate in winds exceeding 40 kilometers per hour, 22 miles per hour. That seems low. I mean, is that a gust or is that constant? I asked that question, but I got no answer. And I looked up 40 kilometers per hour. If you do the conversion on Google, it comes out around, I think about 25 miles per hour. 22 miles per hour is about 36 kilometers. So avoid use with no electrical load attached. So I'll have to remember that. This is my question, which was about the wind speed. Does this have a sort of a high voltage spike? In which case, you know, like the high winds, or if you forget to, if you put it up and then connect it to a battery, is there a spike? Anyway, so it's all written down there. Max is 22 miles per hour, and you must connect to your battery or whatever load prior to operating the turbine. And I saw on their site they suggest you use a rope or something to hold the blades from rotating until you've all that done. Okay, this is a handy thing for holding the wire coming down, especially if you have it up on a pole or a tripod. Yeah, this is the bag. That's supposed to hold everything. I would have liked if there was a little zipped pocket. I know I'm asking for a lot now. That you could put all those little screws in, you know, that you, when you're assembling and disassembling, that you'd have some place to, so they wouldn't get lost. There's the cover, or the mounting plate, and that's the securing part there. And again, I'm quite pleased to see the brass inserts, and it's not just screwing into the plastic. I was worried about that, so that's good. That's yeah, that's a plus. Very good. It's not cheaply put together. There's a bit of thought gone into it. Very good. And these are the screws. How many of them are there? 3. Again, I would like to have seen 5 because on the first outing I could lose one of them in the tall grass. Yeah. So they're for mounting the that hub there onto the Waterlily. And we have the blades. They're quite solid. Very solid. They're not flimsy anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's all the bits. Now it's time to put it all together. Okay, I've mounted the bracket now, and they show it as fitting at the back, and the Waterlily name up at the top. I took off the 4 cords because I'm going to use it as the Windlily, and they said to refit these screws and just tighten them down. That's the bracket on now, so that must just slot down over it, and then you have to line up the holes. Okay, I've mounted the hub now, and I've put in the 3 set bolts with the little tiny spring washers. Now I lost one of those fitting it. It fell in, and I eventually found it on the floor. But they're so tiny, and that's here assembling it on the bench. I just don't know what it would be like assembling it out at the site. Got to get spares because, as I say, I thought I had lost one of them washers, but I'm lucky I found it. They show how to assemble on a YouTube video of theirs, so I just followed that. Okay, so now they're set to put on these blades. Flick it in. It's very hard to do this now. That you slot it in there, and you're supposed to hold it out here until you hear that sort of a locking. Okay, so that's the 6 of them now locked in. You have the cover on now, and just not overly tight, just until I didn't feel there was much more to go in it. That's our Windlily there now. I haven't got much room here to move around with that. That's it. Nice bit of weight. Yeah, nice bit of weight. Would be a fair bit of weight up in a tripod, I must admit. Now I think you're going to have to bring this basic amount of tools, which it's a small little Phillips screwdriver and bullnose pliers. Like I had to use that to take out the screws there in the center. So smaller version of them, but I think you'd need at least those which are in the field. Now one of the problems with these SAE connectors, and it's mentioned on the Waterlily website, is you have to verify positive and negative, especially if you were connecting a crocodile clips to that now onto a 12-volt battery. Now according to their website, this socket, I'll call it the socket, or the female connection is positive and the male stud there is the negative. And what they say to do is put on a meter. I'll just zero that there now. I'll spin it. Now of course if I didn't have this on, if I just had the Waterlily, I'd use the hand crank, and as far as I know, it's clockwise rotating looking onto it, and I'm assuming if you had the hand crank on and you try to go anti-clockwise, you'd unwind it. So I'm taking it as clockwise. 6 volts, yeah, and there's no negative there. I'll give it a good spin. Yeah, so now I suppose if I just turned it around, somehow I ended up with putting a negative in there and a positive there. What would happen when I now spin it? I'm getting a minus. So that would be negative, okay. The female or the socket end is the positive. Here's an example now of what I'm talking about. There's a set of crocodile clips. Now I've just connected that on, and remember this is the positive, so you can see already with this I'm now reverse polarity, and that's what can happen when you have various different accessories with this SAE, so you have to be careful. In that situation now you could possibly damage the controller on your first outing if you just said, oh, I'll get a set of croc clips and connect it up. Now they do have a set themselves, an accessory set of cables, so I take it they're all married up correctly. How do I get around this? Well, I have this other handy gadget here. I got a set of these on Amazon. I think they're called reverse polarity connectors for SAE. And what that does, now I have it connected, that's the positive, and there's now positive through this SE connector. So you've got to keep an eye out for it and watch it. I even myself on another unit I was using there recently, I was wondering why the hell it wasn't generating, and it took me a few minutes to realise that the cables were cross-polarityed. Is that a word? But at least with that unit it had a diode, so it didn't create any problems backpowering from the battery. So you've got to be careful, and they do mention it in their website. So I'm looking forward to testing it. Now, I'll be realistic. I have played around with a few DIY wind turbines and all myself, and you come up with this issue: size, portability against what you can generate. So if I could get this to generate an amp, I would be very happy. 1000 milliamps. It's small, so it can't develop too much, and you have to support companies that are at least looking at portability for the likes of us.